Okay, so have you ever thought about like what happens to those giant stacks of medical records you see in like personal injury cases?
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of crazy, right? Like mountains of paperwork.
Yeah.
Turns out they're actually people whose entire job is to just make sense of all that stuff.
Uh-huh.
They're called medical record summarizers.
Right.
But and this is a big, but not all summarizers are created equal.
That's very true.
So in this deep dive, we're going to explore the world of medical record summarizers.
Okay.
We'll uncover the risks of using inexperienced summarizers and the benefits of, working with the pros.
Sounds good.
So to kick things off, why don't you tell us a little bit about just how important these summaries really are in these cases?
Sure. So these medical record summaries, they're absolutely crucial in personal injury cases.
Okay.
They can literally make or break your case strategy.
Wow.
And the really surprising thing is that a lot of law firms, they might unknowingly be working with summarizers who just don't have the right experience for these specific types of cases.
So they're almost shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, in a way.
So, can you walk me through this a little bit? Like, why are these records so important in the first place? What makes them such a pain to deal with?
Well, just imagine for a second that you're trying to put together this massive puzzle, but the pieces are like scattered everywhere, some are missing, and they're all in a language that you can barely understand.
Oh, God.
That's kind of what it's like dealing with medical records.
Right.
They're massive and they're complex and they're full of jargon that's really hard to decipher.
Yeah.
And to make matters worse, understanding those tiny little details, it can actually be essential for winning your case.
So it's more than just figuring out all the medical terms.
Exactly.
So what else makes a seasoned medical record summarizer so valuable then?
Well, a big part of it is being able to recognize which details are actually legally relevant.
Okay.
Let's say you're working on a case that involves a back injury. An inexperienced summarizer, they might miss a gap in the treatment records right before like a settlement offer is made.
Oh, wow.
And that could end up raising all sorts of questions about how severe the injury really is, which could then impact the value of the entire case.
Makes sense.
They really need to understand how all those medical facts translate into legal arguments.
That's a good point.
Yeah. It's not just about the medicine itself.
Right. And sometimes these records will mention pre-existing conditions too, right? How does that factor into everything?
Oh, that's a great point. Pre-existing conditions can definitely complicate things.
Yeah.
So just to be clear, we're talking about any health issues that you had before the specific incident in question.
Gotcha.
Now, a skilled summarizer will be able to analyze those pre-existing conditions and determine, are they actually relevant to the current injury, or is the defense just trying to downplay the new injuries by pinning the blame on something that already existed?
So it's almost like they're playing detective in a way.
Exactly. They have to connect those dots and see the whole picture.
I like that.
It's really crucial.
So besides that, what else sets these experienced summarizers apart? Like what makes them so good at what they do?
Well, for one thing, they're fluent in both medical and legal language.
Oh.
They act as that bridge, ensuring that nothing gets lost in translation between the two worlds.
Interesting.
And then on top of that, they have this incredible attention to detail.
Oh, okay.
They're like detectives.
Yeah.
They're able to spot inconsistencies that other people might miss. For instance, they might notice that the date that an injury supposedly happened doesn't actually match up with when you first went to seek treatment.
Oh, wow. So it's those little things.
Exactly. It's all about the detail.
So let's say I'm looking for a medical record summarizer. Like, how do I avoid ending up with someone who's just in over their head?
Right.
What kind of questions should I be asking to make sure I'm getting the right person?
Well, first off, don't be shy about asking about their experience with personal injury cases specifically. Like, how many have they actually handled? Are they familiar with the specific type of injury that you're dealing with? And don't be afraid to ask for examples of their work or even client testimonials just to get a sense of their track record.
So it's all about doing your homework.
Exactly. You want to make sure you're making an informed decision.
That makes sense. Now, are there any companies out there that specialize in this kind of work?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There are actually quite a few companies that focus on providing medical record summarization services for legal cases.
Okay.
And one example that comes to mind is Summary Desk.
I've heard of them.
They're known for their expertise in this area.
Okay.
And one of the things that really sets them apart is that they employ both doctors and legal professionals on their team.
Oh, wow. So you're getting the best of both worlds.
Exactly. And that's something that we've already talked about, how important it is to have that combination of medical and legal expertise.
Yeah. It's crucial for making sure those summaries are accurate and effective. So listeners, the next time you're dealing with a personal injury case, remember, The expertise of your medical record summarizer can truly make all the difference.
Yep, and that goes for both lawyers and individuals who've been injured.
It's really something to think about.
It really makes you wonder how many cases might have had totally different outcomes if the right summarizer had been involved, especially those cases that involve, pre-existing conditions.
It's a great point to end on. It's all about finding the right people for the job.
Couldn't agree more.
That's all the time we have for this deep dive, folks.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening.
See ya.
Bye.